versus
the last year I was on the Stern Show, I think I made $1.25 million. And this is not in good taste, but my accountant said I did a 9/11 to my bank account. I walked up the show, I had plenty of money, still got plenty of money. I was so beat up by the show, not by the show, but by the hours, and due to my own lifestyle. And I quit the show, got separated from my wife, moved into a house on the beach by myself, and quit drinking all at the same time. Now, if you read a psychology magazine, they say any one of those things, if you try and do any of those things, don't change anything else, because it's more than enough life change. And I did probably the top 4 life changes: moving, getting divorced, losing your job, and quitting drinking all at the same time. And you know, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And bullshit. You know, I mean, it was fine. And ever since I quit the show, I go to the Cannes Film Festival, I go to Toronto, I do independent movies, I do golf outings. I have an enviable life, you know. The Stern Show and the media would love for people to think that I'm sitting in the corner crying somewhere, and it breaks their heart that I'm not. It's just wonderful. Like, I live a crazy life. I was, I'll tell you a great showbiz story, because it has nothing to do with your life and will not help your education. I was in California, and I got a phone call from an old friend who put me in my first movie. It was called Potluck, which I actually did while I was still on the Stern Show. And he's a very successful producer. And his older brother, his name is Paul Bernard. His older brother Tom Bernard, his company Sony Pictures Classics, just won, not one, but 2 Oscars. He got thanked twice on the Academy Awards this year. They won for Inside Job, which is the best feature documentary, which is an incredible movie if you've never seen it, and the best foreign film, which was a Danish film. And Paul Bernard called up, and he said, "How you doing?" I said, "When are you going to put me in a movie, for Christ's sake?" He said, "Well, if you were in Los Angeles, I could put you in a movie." I said, "I am in Los Angeles." He said, "Well, come out to Santa Anita Racetrack." And that's when I went to do that movie you're referencing, Venus in Vegas, right? And I don't know, I never watched TV in the 70s, but Florence Henderson was Mrs. Brady in the Brady Bunch, and I played her boyfriend. And I had to French kiss Mrs. Brady for a whole afternoon, because we were the background of the scene. It was her grandson in the movies, and there were 3 camera angles times 5 or 6 takes. So we're not only making out, but she's licking ketchup and mustard off my face. It's the greatest scene. And we really hit it off, and we hit it off so well that they wrote me into the movie more so I could come to Las Vegas to play her boyfriend, who became the bus driver. They melded the 2 characters. So this is just how silly show business is, because I'm a wannabe. I was a writer on the Howard Stern Show, and people say, "Are you famous?" Yeah, if somebody knows who I am, I'm famous. If they don't know who I am, I'm not famous. It's that simple. If a NASCAR guy walked in, probably 20 people go, "Wow, it's Charlie." I go, "Who the fuck is that?" So, I didn't mean to curse.
I have editing technology. I'm good.
So we're at the Palms Hotel, and I'm with these old codgers. I'm the bus driver, and it's a bunch of old codgers. And the premise of the movie is Florence Henderson's grandson is working with the mob, and they're making fake chips and smuggling them into the casinos. So his grandmother and all her old friends are bringing Pringle boxes, Pringle potato chips with the chips in them, and they're interspersing the chips. It's ridiculous. So her best friend in the movie is Eileen Ryan, who is Sean Penn's mother in real life. So we're standing around the dice table, and I'm with Florence and Eileen, and I'm making lewd comments, because I'm an old guy, but I'm way younger than them, and I'm hitting on them, and it's very funny. So we're in between takes, and we go in to sit down to get made up in between takes. Now, I was born on Valentine's Day, and all of a sudden it's in the newspaper that I'm making a movie with Florence Henderson. The guitar player from my college band calls me up and says, "Martling, I can't believe you're making a movie with Florence Henderson and you guys have the same birthday." I said, "How weird are you? How the hell do you know when my birthday is, let alone goddamn Florence Henderson?" He says, "Well, you made such a big deal in college about your birthdays because you could get extra drunk on your birthday. I never forgot it was Valentine's Day. I was watching Mike Douglas one day, and it was Florence Henderson. She says, yeah, my birthday's Valentine's Day. And I said, oh, same as Martling. And here's all these years later, Jackie's making a movie with Florence Henderson. So I know we're born on Valentine's Day, both of us. So I got this little piece of information, right? I'm going to spring it at some point because it's fun. So I'm sitting, and this is the show business conversation. This is me getting into show business where I don't belong. It's me and Florence Henderson and Eileen Ryan, who's Sean Penn's mother. We're sitting there and we're getting made up, and somehow the word birthday or something came up. And I said, you know, Florence, we were both born on Valentine's Day. It's really? February 14th? And Eileen Ryan goes, oh, Sean was born on the same day as Robert De Niro. And Florence Henderson goes, how is Bobby? And I said, yeah, how is Bobby? I said, look at me, I'm in goddamn show business. How is Bobby? So that's my Venus in Vegas. And meanwhile, Venus in Vegas is a very funny movie, and it's going to come out before I die. It might be available on DVD. It's actually very funny. One thing you find out is a zillion movies get made that are great. Like I go to the Cannes Film Festival and see 15 movies, and then see one of them surface. And I mean, the other 14 are just as good. It's just, you know, it's like a great ball player getting to the major leagues. You know, you can be a great ball player. You know, or you can be a great actor like me. And okay, see what I mean? See how long that answer was? It had nothing to do with your question. How was it going from being rich to being poor? It sucked. Is that easier to answer? No, it's you know what? It was not a life change for me because I never got fancy. I don't care about cars. I don't do drugs. I didn't have the money for cocaine in the 80s. Thank God I'd be dead. So I never had expensive taste. You can only drink so many Budweisers and eat so many steaks. I made barbecues and hang out with my friends. When I got rich, I made barbecues and hung out with my friends and invited the people from the Stern Show. I never changed. So when I went back to, I just had less money in the bank. You know, I've always been a guy that's very happy sometimes and very miserable other times. You know, people say, oh, you're going to get money, then everything's... When you get money, that just comes off the shelf of your worries, and you put a different worry up there. You got just as many worries. It doesn't change a goddamn thing. You know, it's fun. Yes, sir.
So now that you entered the business with music, were you a musician when you first entered the business? I just wanted to know, like, do you still sing?
What? Can I sing? I couldn't sing that. In 7th grade, I said to a guy who I started in kindergarten with, who's still my best friend, Chris Bates. He lived in Bayville forever. I said, wow, you play the guitar? And he goes, yeah. And I said, that's so cool. And 99% of the people who learn to play guitar do it to get laid, and the other 1% are lying. Okay? And he had gone to Sunday school, and a girl had said, wow, Ricky Nelson, that's way before your time. Ricky Nelson's so cool, he plays guitar. So Bates went home, learned how to play guitar, went back to Sunday school, and the girl moved out of town, and he never saw her again, but he learned guitar. And he said, yeah, I could teach you 4 chords and we could have a band. He taught me 4 chords, and we had a band in high school called the Sonics, and we best friends. Colleges, you know, we come home in the summer and played in the bars in Long Island. And then in the 70s, we had a band, and we played and sang and wrote songs. And I wrote songs from my heart, and I really tried to make a go of it, and didn't. And music is so hard. Writing songs is so hard. It's the same thing. You know, there's so many great songs. You'll never hear so many great bands. You know, we'd sit there on the Stern Show, and these guys come in and say, oh, what'd you do? Yeah, we got a bunch of guys together in the garage, and we wrote a few songs, recorded an album, and we had a #1 hit. And it's unbelievable. But that's the one band out of 5,000 million that happened to be sitting on the Stern Show. There were 499 million that got together in the garage and recorded songs that never got anywhere. We're just interviewing the guys that made it, you know. It's so hard. And, you know, we went through so much. And by the end of the 70s, we were fighting with each other because we didn't stink. We just didn't know anybody. We couldn't get anywhere. This is a very heartbreaking story, but it's my favorite story of all time. And my favorite part of it is my friend Bates, who's still my best friend, swears this didn't happen. But I swear on my mother that it happened. We're in a 3-piece band. And we sucked, man. We were getting nowhere. And I had started playing guitar by myself and telling jokes. And there were no comedy clubs at the time. I'm playing at this little place, and the guys that came by, Eddie Murphy used to come by, Bobby Nelson, Rich Minervini, all these guys that were comedians at the time, there was no place to work. And I put them on stage for 5 minutes, and they would people are so thrilled to have stage time. So we'd have fun. I'd play my songs, and then we'd tell jokes, and then I'd,